February. What a month, am I right? I naturally read some books, so I'm here to talk to you about them because I have taken a day off and I feel very bad about taking a day off, even though I am exhausted and burned out. So I thought I would still be doing things instead of relaxing, you know? Alas, here are the books. I shall start off with the ones that I don't have physical copies of, because I will forget them if I don't start with them, you know. So I have my trustworthy Goodreads page over here to help me, because I'm old and don't remember things. Oh, first off, I think that carried on from January. I started in January and kind of continued in February, but I listened to the audiobook for Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare for the millionth time. If you don't know, that is the first book in Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters series, The Infernal Devices, which follows teenagers that kill demons in 1800s London, which is great. You know, it's everything I ever wanted and more. It's very emotional because I went back to London this month as well, so I finished the book and then went to Blackfriars Bridge, which is like a key element, place, thing in the series. So I was very emo, very emo. This is still one of my absolute favorite books of all times. It's one of my absolute favorite series of all times. I think it's a very good audiobook, and I was just a real emo child to begin with. I then read a really cute middle grade, which is called The Midnight Hour. I read this because my shop was the shop in our kind of chain to choose our kids' books of the month this particular month, and our kids buyer went with The Midnight Hour, and so we were all very excited to read it, so we did, and it is amazing. It pretty much follows this girl whose family receives a letter in the middle of the night, and her mother, God bless her, a quirky artist type, she just up and left in the middle of the night, and then she just didn't come back for days, and so her dad went looking for the lady mother, and he also didn't come back. So the girl's like, what do I do? So she reaches this magical version of London where it's always midnight, and it is so whimsical and so cute and so fun. I love me a good, you know, relaxing, touching, super funny middle grade, so this was a very good one. I didn't really get into it from the very beginning. The little girl was just kind of mean, but once I got into that, I was in. I was hooked. It was so fun. It was so whimsical. I thought the world building was so intriguing and complex. It was so funny. I hope there's a sequel to this because it was very fun, and it ended in a way that they could make a sequel, and they should make a sequel, and I'm very much here. I think if you like Nevermore and all of those things, you should definitely give this a shot because it's just adorable. I got volume 1 of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina from the library because this is the one they based the show on, so it's a very dark graphic novel comic collection thing about Sabrina the teenage witch, but it's like all satanic and stuff. Everyone was saying this is like terrifying, this is the worst, I cannot sleep, blah blah. It's not that dark, it's not that bad. I don't know what that says about me, but it's not the worst thing I've read at all. I think I enjoyed the aesthetic of it. I like that quirky, darker take on this story, but there was just something that rubbed me the wrong way about it. There was some girl hate in this, very passé. Don't care for it. I think the way that the characters were drawn was very over-sexualized. Did not like that at all. There's some villainizing of suicide in it. Did not like that at all. So it's a bit of a hot mess. I think I would continue with this because it ended in such a way that I did not really see it coming, and I thought it was a very nice setup for things that could come and end up happening. But yeah, it was a bit of a mess, I will say that, and I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it. I'm not happy that I read it, but also I don't know. I also read Wonder Woman Volume 3, The Truth by Greg Rucka. I think that's part of the Earth one, New 51, one of them new DC ones. This is my favorite run of Wonder Woman, I think, and this volume, do not fall short at all either. I think that thematically it's doing some really interesting things with Wonder Woman. The plot is a bit all over the place, I will say that, but it offers for such interesting, in-depth character analysis and character study that I don't mind. I do not mind at all, even though it's a bit hard to keep track. It's a bit wild. But yeah, it's a very interesting take on Wonder Woman, and I would die for her and Steve Trevor. I just want her to be happy. And I think that the way it introduced small snapshots of her and Justice League and them being worried for what's happening with her, it was just, I'm here for that bromance. It was very touching. It was a nice addition. So I really did appreciate that as well. And it was overall a solid installment in the series. I also read What Would Boudica Do? Everyday Problems Solved by History's Most Remarkable Women. And this is a collection, I think, of 50 women from history and the way one could potentially apply life lessons taken from them on everyday problems. And it was really nice. It was a very interesting mix of women. I appreciate, first of all, the humor. They're hilarious. Whoever made this book, they're fabulous. The illustrations were very nice. And also, I really enjoyed the fact that on top of giving you details of these women's life and ways you could take inspiration from them, it did not shy away from telling you the not as bright things about these women and the way maybe they were not perfect, they kind of fucked up, and they're maybe not the best overall life models. But yeah, it was a really nuanced portrayal of them, which I really appreciated. I would recommend this, I think, if you're interested in it. It's a quick read, it's nice, it's not as dense as nonfiction can go, so it's really something that I don't mind reading. I also finally listened to Saints and Misfits by S.K. Ali on my audio service from the library, and this is a darker contemporary about a girl who's been abused by one of her friend's cousin, and kind of the repercussions of that and how it's affected her life and her relationship with her body, herself, her religion, her friends, and just the world. It's so deep and it's so smart, but it also balances out by being lighthearted in the way that it's just exploring that teenage life, and it's just very smartly done. I thought that Jana as a protagonist was fantastic. I really enjoyed the narrator of the audiobook as well. I thought that it also did a great job portraying different aspects of Islam and different ways that people engage with their religion and express it outwardly. And it was just really nicely done and nuanced and just gorgeous, and it also thematically explored that idea of people being so much more than they seem, because the guy that abused her is seen as a key member in their community, and he's very pious and supposedly religious, and everyone thinks he's perfect. And then some girls that she had maybe not the best opinions about, she kind of took them at face value. She finds out that there is so much more behind that facade that they're presenting to the world. So it was really interesting, and the writing style was fabulous, and the family dynamics were really interesting. So overall, such a good book. I don't know why I didn't read it before. Someone told me back in the day that was crimey, mystery. I don't know why I thought that. I don't know who said it, but I kept thinking that's what it was. So it was a really nice surprise when I listened to it, and it was not. And it was just overall such a good read, and definitely one of my favorite reads of the year so far, I think. I also read volume 1 of Bundette, and that's called Presto. It's by Paul Tobin, and it's a comic book, graphic novel type thing following an anti-hero, vigilante type person called Bundette. It takes a lot of inspiration from the French BDs, bande dessinée, whatever you like to call them. So that's very wholesome, and it's kind of an homage to those, which I can definitely appreciate. It's so funny, it is so funny, and it's so action-packed, and I love Bundette as a protagonist, and it's just a really good time. It's a very different, unique, quirky take on the superhero narrative, So I would definitely recommend this. I read this on the recommendation of Reggie from Don't Stop Reading. And if you don't follow Reggie, you should, because her recommendations are fabulous. Finally, on to the physical books. I read Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This was incredible. It's a story following a guy who falls for a girl, but the girl has died, but then there's time travel happening and he tries to save her. So it's bonkers. It's a wild in the absolute best kind of way. It has everything. There's so many layers to the story. There's the lighthearted, wholesome romance with the funny banter and witty character interactions, and it's hilarious. There's the deeper contemporary level about the girl's illness and him trying to save her, and the depth of that relationship and his relationship with his friends and family. And there's that. There's time travel. I love time travel. And it's just so much in one book. I will give it to it that it's longer than your regular contemporary type thing, but it really worked. And I really appreciated the fact that despite it being about him repeating these months of his life and these experiences, it never got repetitive because, I don't know, Justin A. Reynolds, a magician of writing. Every single layer was so smartly done and artfully constructed, and it was so well executed. Because the funny parts were so funny, and the intriguing time travel-y and sciencey bits so intriguing, and then the emotional parts were so raw and touching, and I was crying and then I was laughing, and it was so much. And this is definitely one of the greatest surprises of the year, even though it was one of my most anticipated reads. I think this is out in April. Is it out in April? It is out 4th of April. And I would definitely say keep an eye out for it because it's one of the best things I've read this year as well. And yeah, I cannot wait to see what else Justin A. Reynolds can do because I think he's one of the most promising voices in YA and definitely one to watch out for. So do read this book, please, when it is out. And then for my modern English class, I picked up Northanger Abbey by Miss Jane Austen. I absolutely loved this. If you don't know, Northanger Abbey is pretty much the story of this girl named Catherine Morland who reads a lot of novels, and then some family, friends, acquaintances, people take her to Bath to kind of entertain them, keep them company, present her to society. She meets a handsome fella. She meets a not so handsome fella who's kind of obsessed with her, and it's just Jane Austen being Jane Austen, which is fabulous. You have that surface layer of the courtship plot and her falling for this guy, and then this other guy trying to get in her pants, and his sister trying to become her best friend and also kind of get with her brother, so it's a whole thing. And then you have the more core deep elements, and it's Jane Austen being savage at everything and everyone. She's so sassy and she's so dry and she's so petty. She is picking fun at people that are making fun of novels and novel reading, but she's simultaneously making fun of people who, like Catherine, perhaps live too much in those stories and don't focus as much on the real world. So there's that naivete and ingenuity and everything. She, again, just like, what did I say earlier? Saints and Misfits, there we go. Talks about the way the image one presents correlates with who they are inside, and it's just so smart and I love it. It's about class and all that as well because it's Jane Austen, and it's just so smart and so touching, and I love Catherine Morland, and I lived my life thinking I am a Lizzie Bennet, but I might be a Catherine Morland, and I don't know how to feel about it. I read a bit of poetry, so I read Stuff I've Been Feeling Lately by Alicia Cook. This is kind of a mix between modern poetry and more classic elements of poetry. Also, it looks like a cassette tape, which is really cool, and it's split between side A, which is the regular poems, and then side B, which is blackout poetry made from the original poems, which is mind-blowing, the coolest thing ever. I absolutely love this. I think it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, poetry collections. It's just so smart. Even the poems that didn't necessarily resonate with me were still phenomenal and blew me away, and I really enjoyed them and liked them and appreciate them. I think Alicia Cook has a really great way with words. I love her authorial voice. I really love the themes and the poems and everything, and this is just fabulous. I then read Supergirl Volume 1, Reign of the Cyborg Superman. This follows Supergirl, naturally. This is not an origin story, even though it kind of touches on that. It's pretty much her trying to avoid the cyborg Superman from taking over Earth and also destroying her legacy of Krypton, and it's good, but it's not my favorite. I think thematically it's trying to do some really interesting things, but it did end up falling a little bit short for me, even though there were loads of things that I did like and appreciate and so on. I would continue on with the series, I think, but it's just not a priority. And then finally, last but definitely not least, I read The Crow Prince and The Wicked King by Holly Black, because I went to an event, so I wanted to cram these in to avoid spoilers. And I finally read them, and they're so good. They're books number 1 and 2 in the Folk of Air series. I would recommend, however, reading The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black, which is one of my favorite books of last year first, because some characters from that make an appearance in these, and it's great. And these pretty much follow Jude and her twin Taryn and their older half-sister Vivi as they move from the human world to fairy with their kids, and this guy kills their parents but then has to take care of them because they're his ex-wife's children, and one of them is his own spawn and everything. It's so good. It is so good. I love me some morally ambiguous characters. I think Holly Black does fairies in a way that I love it. I love the world building, naturally, starting from that. I love me some angst, and I haven't read such palpable tension between two characters as I've read between Jude and Carden in ages, and I was just amazing. I love Carden. He's so trashy, but I love him. I think Jude is a super interesting protagonist to follow. I love her anti-hero scheming lady aura. I love that. I love the moral ambiguity of everyone in the series. I love the things when it comes to rules and limitations that having your story set in fairy brings. I love following this outsider inside this world, kind of seeing her half in, half out of the world. It's just, oh, I love the series. The twists and the turns and the schemes and the plots and the political tension and the drama. It's just so much, and I love all of it. I love all of it. I'm here for all of it. These are just everything. I can't believe I have to live my life for like a year until the next book comes out. That's just wild. I finished The Wicked King the morning of the event because I didn't want to finish it the night before, even though I had like 20 pages left. It was just too much. And so I was telling Holly, I'm like, I finished it this morning. She's like, oh, so you hate me now? I'm like, honey, you're doing amazing, sweetie. Thank you for your service. It was just a lot of feelings for me, and it was great. And if you haven't read these books, then I definitely recommend you do, because they're fabulous. They're as good as everyone says. I can see why some people would not like them, but they just appealed to me on a spiritual level. So if our reading tastes align, read them. What are you doing, for the love of God? They're so good. They're so good. I'm sorry. I'm just having a mental breakdown and an existential crisis in front of the camera, so thank you for bearing with me. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea because I can feel my throat dying and I've been talking for ages. So thank you very much for watching. Do let me know if you've read any of these books, and I shall see you in my next one.